Welcome back to Alf Talks Arsenal. The other day I made the first video on this channel looking at the slightly surreal situation currently unfolding in North London. Tottenham Hotspur sitting 1 point above the relegation zone. If you didn't catch that video, feel free to check it out after this one or before this one, whatever you want to do. But today I just wanted to take that conversation one step further and actually look at how this could unfold. Not banter, not vibes, just the table, the fixtures, and the reality of where Spurs actually are right now. Because the immediate reaction when people see Spurs down there is always the same. Yeah, but they'll obviously be fine. On paper, it's Spurs. This can't happen. You know, they'll be all right. They'll get through this. And maybe they will. But when you look at the table properly and then you look at the run-in, the situation becomes a lot more interesting than people think. And pretty funny as well, to be fair. So right now Spurs are 16th with 29 points after 29 games. They are 1 point above the relegation zone and they haven't won a league match in 2026. That run of results has dragged them from mid-table comfort into a genuine relegation conversation. The broader picture of the bottom of the league is chaotic. Wolves and Burnley look to be in the deepest trouble according to most projections, while West Ham are currently occupying the final relegation place. Just above them, you've got Forest, Spurs and Leeds all hovering nervously in that same zone where a couple of bad results can completely change the picture for any of these teams. And that's why Spurs are suddenly being talked about in this conversation, not because they are favourites to go down, but because they're close enough to the line that it's no longer ridiculous to discuss it. There's also a strange subplot running alongside all of this involving the manager. Igor Tudor has come in and lost his first 3 matches against Arsenal, Fulham and Crystal Palace, which is exactly the stabilising start you'd hope for in this situation. But the latest reporting from London suggests the club are planning to stick with him for now. He's only contracted until the end of the season, and the current idea seems to be to ride this out and make a bigger decision in the summer unless the results collapse even further. Which leads to another slightly surreal detail. Spurs are preparing for a Champions League last 16 tie away at Atletico Madrid while simultaneously hovering above the relegation zone in the Premier League. Football does occasionally produce storylines that feel a bit strange when you say them out loud. Now, when you actually look at the league fixtures, this is where the situation becomes genuinely interesting. So Spurs' next game is Liverpool away, Liverpool at Anfield, which is about as difficult a fixture as you could draw when confidence is already low. After that, they've got Nottingham Forest at home, and that game suddenly becomes enormous because it's a direct 6-pointer. Lose that and Spurs are effectively handing survival points to the team chasing them. Then it's Sunderland away, which is not an easy place to go to this season. Sunderland have been very solid at home, and that sort of fixture becomes dangerous when a team is short on confidence. After that, Spurs play Brighton at home. Then they've got Wolves away, Villa away, Leeds United at home, and then Chelsea away and Everton at home. There are definitely some winnable games in there, but there are also several matches where the momentum could easily continue in the wrong direction if Spurs don't rediscover some form quickly. And just quickly, if you are enjoying this video, feel free to like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. This channel is basically just going to be Arsenal chat, Premier League chaos and whatever badness the league decides to produce next. Now, if we look at the other teams around Spurs, Forest's run looks slightly kinder on paper. They start with Fulham at home, then Spurs away, which could end up being one of the most important games in the entire relegation fight. One of my favourite games that I'm looking forward to be honest. After that, Forest face Aston Villa at home, Burnley at home, Sunderland away, Chelsea away, Newcastle United at home, Manchester United away and Bournemouth at home. Again, not easy, but there are enough games in that list where Forest could realistically pick up points. That's why Spurs can't just assume the teams below them will collapse. They need points, they need wins, they even need draws at this point. West Ham have a difficult but manageable run with Fulham away, Man City at home, Villa away, Wolves at home, Crystal Palace away, Everton at home, Brentford away, Arsenal at home and Newcastle away. The key difference right now is that the teams around Spurs have managed to pick up results recently, while Tottenham haven't. When you're in a relegation battle, momentum matters almost as much as quality. And the fixture that really jumps off the page, as mentioned, is that Spurs versus Forest game. That game alone could reshape the entire bottom half of the table. If Spurs win it, they create some breathing room. If Forest win it, Spurs could easily slide into the bottom three. And then there's the real comedy of this situation. Not necessarily in Spurs actually being relegated, as funny as that is, but in the fact that we can even have this conversation seriously. Spurs were in the Champions League regularly not that long ago. They're still in the Champions League, and now they're looking at the fixture list and asking the same questions every relegation threatened club asks. Where are the points coming from? The strange thing about this season as well is that Spurs haven't even been fun bad. When teams collapse, they sometimes produce chaos, amazing games. Spurs haven't even managed that. It's mostly been narrow defeats and dull draws, which somehow makes the whole run feel even heavier. And none of this happened overnight either. It's been a slow drift, managers changing, tactical ideas shifting, players leaving, injuries piling up, and confidence gradually draining out of that team. There's also a slightly poetic contrast in the background of all of this. Spurs have one of the most impressive stadiums in world football, a £1 billion arena, hosting NFL games, concerts and huge events. It's genuinely incredible, and yet the team currently playing there is sitting 16th in the Premier League. World-class revenue, relegation battle football. It is incredible. Now let me get into a thought experiment for a moment, if you will. Humour me. A little hypothetical. Spurs fans over the years have had this slightly strange habit of caring more about Arsenal losing than Spurs winning. We saw it a few years ago when Son missed that chance against City, and this season some fans were actually annoyed when they drew with City because it helped Arsenal, which is genuinely one of the most absurd things I've ever seen in football. So imagine this scenario for a moment. Arsenal have the league wrapped up by game week 35, job done, trophy secured. Then in game week 36 we play West Ham. And West Ham need the points because they're fighting Spurs for survival. Imagine Arsenal just very generously hand them the points and directly contribute to Spurs going down. Imagine the absolute head loss, the irony of that, the beauty of that. Please make it happen, football gods. But the even funnier twist would be Spurs fans suddenly needing Arsenal to win that game to help them survive, begging Arsenal for help. Football does have a sense of humour sometimes, and we are living in it right now. And you know what? There's been quite a lot of commentary recently about this being a poor Premier League season. I actually disagree with that completely. This has been a brilliant season. Arsenal potentially winning the league, Spurs flirting with relegation, chaos across the table. And yes, the game does need tweaks, 100%. Maybe a little less set-piece football and a bit more free-flowing play. But overall, I've loved watching the season unfold. I've loved the fan narrative. It's been awesome. So let's think of it like a cake, right? Winning the Premier League, this is the base of the cake. That's the foundation. There's the layers there. You've got the sponge and maybe a bit of jam and some frosting in the middle. Let's now think of the Champions League. That's sort of like adding the frosting on top. The League Cup is like the glass of milk on the side. The FA Cup is possibly the fork. And I'm just thinking, what would Spurs be? What would Spurs be in this situation? I'm not entirely sure. Maybe the plate? I don't know. I prefer a flan, you know? I don't really know where I'm going with this analogy, but the point is, Gooners, brothers, sisters, friends, we are eating cake right now. I am full. Stop it. I don't need any more cake, but I will have more. I will continue to eat the cake you are serving up.
John, you alright? I'm fine, mate. Thank you.
So what I'm saying is this: Rice, Timber, Gabriel, Saliba, Hincapia, David Raya, Zubamendi, Rice. I said Rice twice. Declan Rice, he did it twice. Eze, Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, Trossard, Gyökeres. Keep cooking the cake. Keep serving it out. I'm having a ball. Please, let's bring this home. Bring home the Premier League and relegate Spurs. Let's do it. Alf out. Peace.